Your old life doesn't break without reason. It shatters because it can't contain who you're becoming. What once felt safe now feels heavy, and you don't know why it suddenly hurts to stay. People, habits, and comfort begin to fall away, leaving silence and fear behind. This breakdown feels like loss, but it's the clearing before a greater rebuild. What's ending isn't you, it's the version of you that can't go forward. My dear friends, listen carefully. Your life begins to shift the moment comfort stops feeling like home. You wake up surrounded by the same routine, yet something feels missing inside. The silence grows louder even when friends are laughing around you. You question why peace left a place that once felt safe. This confusion is not weakness. It is awareness arriving. Old habits start to feel heavy on your chest. You try to explain it, but words don't come easily. People think you're ungrateful for wanting more. Even brothers may not understand your restlessness. You smile on the outside while storms build within. This is where the breaking quietly begins. Not with noise, but with realization. Your soul outgrows the space it once fit in. Change whispers before it ever screams. And this whisper is calling you forward. At first, you try to ignore the signs. You tell yourself this feeling will pass. You distract your mind with work and noise. Friends invite you out, but joy feels distant. You laugh, yet your heart stays guarded. The old version of you fights to survive. Comfort argues that staying is safer. Fear reminds you of everything you could lose. Brothers may warn you not to change too much. But deep inside, something insists you must. The tension grows between who you are and who you're becoming. Every day feels like wearing clothes that no longer fit. You begin to feel trapped by familiarity. This discomfort is not random. It is preparation disguised as pain. Breaking doesn't mean failing, though it feels that way. It means the foundation is no longer strong enough. Your dreams begin to demand more space. Your mindset refuses to shrink again. Old conversations feel repetitive and shallow. You crave depth where surface once satisfied you. Friends notice you're quieter than before. Some misunderstand your silence as pride. Brothers may think you're drifting away, but you're not leaving them. You're finding yourself. Growth is lonely before it becomes powerful. Transformation often isolates before it connects. This stage tests your patience deeply. You must sit with uncertainty bravely, because clarity is being forged in confusion. You begin losing things you didn't expect. Relationships change without clear explanations. Support fades from places you trusted most. You wonder why the timing feels so cruel. You question if you made a mistake. Friends stop calling as often as before. Brothers grow distant without meaning to. This loss cuts deeper than failure ever could. But endings create room for alignment. Not everyone is meant to walk every season. Some are lessons, not lifetimes. Letting go hurts because attachment feels safe, yet holding on hurts more in the long run. Release becomes an act of courage, and courage always invites growth. My brothers, the breaking phase humbles you completely. You realize how little control you truly had. Plans collapse without warning. Certainty disappears overnight. You stand alone with unanswered questions. Friends offer advice, but none fully fits. Brothers try to encourage you, but doubt lingers. You feel exposed and vulnerable. This is where ego slowly dissolves. Strength is rebuilt from honesty, not pride. You learn to listen instead of forcing outcomes. Patience replaces urgency step by step. You start trusting the process reluctantly. Faith grows quietly in the dark. and resilience begins forming within you. Old patterns start revealing their cracks. Habits you defended now feel destructive. Excuses no longer convince your conscience. You see clearly what once blinded you. Growth removes illusions without mercy. Friends may resist your new boundaries. Brothers might question your sudden discipline. But boundaries protect what matters most. You choose peace over pleasing everyone. This decision costs you comfort, but it buys you clarity. You stop explaining yourself excessively. Alignment replaces approval seeking. Your self-respect strengthens daily. This is the cost of becoming better. The silence teaches lessons noise never could. You sit with yourself longer than before. Thoughts surface you once avoided. Healing demands confrontation, not escape. You revisit old wounds bravely. Pain speaks truths comfort kept hidden. Friends don't always see this inner work. Brothers may think you're overthinking, but reflection sharpens awareness deeply. You begin understanding your triggers. You forgive yourself for past choices. Self-compassion becomes a daily practice. Strength grows through honesty. You stop running from discomfort because growth lives there patiently. Your priorities begin to shift naturally. Things you chased lose their shine. Meaning becomes more valuable than approval. Purpose outweighs temporary pleasure. You become selective with your energy. Friends notice your standards rising. Some feel inspired, others feel threatened. Brothers may admire your discipline quietly. You stop wasting time on distractions. Focus becomes your new companion. You understand that time is non-refundable. Discipline replaces motivation slowly. Consistency builds confidence brick by brick. Your future self starts taking shape. And the old life feels farther away. Fear appears when progress becomes real. Self-doubt questions your worthiness. You wonder if you can handle what's ahead. The mind tries pulling you backward. Comfort tempts you with familiarity. Friends may invite you back into old habits. Brothers remind you of who you used to be. But growth requires a firm no. You choose discomfort over regret. Courage feels shaky but necessary. Each step forward strengthens belief. Confidence grows through action, not thought. You learn by doing, not waiting. Momentum builds with persistence. And fear slowly loses its grip. The breaking phase teaches patience deeply. You realize timing matters more than speed. Rushing ruins what maturity could perfect. You allow progress to unfold naturally. Pressure no longer controls your pace. Friends ask why you're moving differently. Brothers notice you're calm under stress. Peace becomes your new measure of success. You stop comparing journeys with others. Your path becomes pure and sacred. You trust your rhythm fully. Consistency replaces urgency. Growth becomes sustainable, not forced. You move with intention now. And intention creates lasting results. Loss transforms your perspective permanently. You value alignment over popularity. You recognize true support easily. Friends who stay earn deeper respect. Brothers who believe strengthen your resolve. You stop begging for validation. Self-belief replaces external approval. Your identity becomes self-defined. You stand firm in your values. Integrity guides your decisions. Shortcuts lose their appeal. You embrace long-term thinking. Character becomes your foundation. Your mindset shifts powerfully, and growth becomes inevitable. The breaking strips illusions mercilessly. You see people clearly, including yourself. Expectations dissolve painfully. Reality replaces fantasy. Truth feels heavy but freeing. Friends show their true intentions. Brothers reveal their support quietly. You learn who stands without benefits. Trust becomes selective and wise. You stop oversharing your vision. Privacy protects your progress. Silence strengthens focus. You build quietly now. Results speak louder than promises. And maturity reshapes your life. You learn to sit alone without fear. Loneliness turns into solitude gradually. Peace replaces constant noise. Your thoughts become clearer daily. Reflection sharpens your direction. Friends wonder how you changed so much. Brothers notice your emotional strength. You no longer react impulsively. You respond with awareness. Emotional control becomes your advantage. Calm becomes your superpower. You understand that mastery starts within. Self-discipline deepens self-respect. Confidence grows quietly, and silence fuels your strength. The old life fades without drama. It simply no longer fits you. Memories remain without attachment. Gratitude replaces resentment. You honor the past without living there. Friends from before become chapters. Brothers from before become foundations. You carry lessons, not regrets. Wisdom replaces bitterness. You stop blaming circumstances. Ownership empowers your future. Responsibility sharpens your decisions. You become intentional with choices. Life feels lighter this way. And clarity becomes your compass. New habits begin shaping your days. Structure replaces chaos gradually. Discipline feels empowering now. You protect your mornings fiercely. Focus improves with routine. Friends notice your consistency. Brothers admire your commitment. You stop seeking shortcuts. Process becomes your priority. Small wins build massive confidence. Progress feels steady and real. You trust effort more than luck. Consistency becomes your identity. Momentum carries you forward. And growth compounds daily. Your mindset becomes your strongest asset. You control reactions better now. Challenges feel manageable, not overwhelming. Problems become lessons quickly. Failure becomes feedback, not defeat. Friends ask how you stay strong. Brothers seek your advice quietly. Experience teaches better than words. You stay grounded under pressure. Calm thinking guides tough decisions. Emotional intelligence deepens naturally. You act with intention always. Self-awareness sharpens leadership. Confidence becomes stable. And growth feels sustainable. You stop chasing attention completely. Impact matters more than applause. Purpose replaces ego-driven goals. You work even when unseen. Integrity defines your effort. Friends respect your quiet discipline. Brothers trust your judgment deeply. You lead by example now. Consistency builds credibility. Actions align with values. You stay focused despite distractions. Vision guides your daily steps. You move with clarity now. Energy flows efficiently, and fulfillment grows steadily. Pain reshapes your priorities permanently. You value peace above arguments, growth above comfort, truth above approval, purpose above pleasure. Friends feel your new boundaries. Brothers respect your self-control. You protect your mental space. Energy becomes precious. You invest it wisely. Distractions lose their power. Focus sharpens your results. Your standards rise naturally. Alignment becomes essential. And discipline feels rewarding. The breaking taught you humility. Success now feels earned, not rushed. You appreciate progress deeply. Patience shapes your expectations. You understand timing better. Friends notice your grounded nature. Brothers trust your consistency. You stop forcing outcomes. Flow replaces resistance. Effort feels purposeful. You trust the journey fully. Faith strengthens your resilience. Peace supports your ambition. Balance guides your pace. And growth remains steady. You realize strength looks quiet. Confidence doesn't need noise. Security doesn't need approval. Growth doesn't need validation. Consistency speaks for itself. Friends admire your stability. Brothers rely on your presence. You become dependable. Trust builds naturally around you. You show up without excuses. Discipline defines your character. Resilience shapes your identity. You handle pressure calmly. You lead without forcing. And respect follows naturally. Your vision becomes clearer than ever. Goals align with values now. Purpose fuels your discipline. Motivation becomes secondary. Commitment carries you forward. Friends ask about your focus. Brothers learn from your patience. You plan with intention. Execution becomes consistent. Progress feels inevitable. You trust yourself more. Confidence becomes internal. Fear loses its influence. Belief strengthens daily. And growth accelerates naturally. You stop fearing endings completely. You welcome necessary goodbyes. Release becomes liberating. Attachments loosen gracefully. Freedom replaces anxiety. Friends who leave create space. Brothers who stay build strength. You choose alignment over familiarity. Change feels empowering now. Adaptability becomes your advantage. Resilience supports every transition. You flow with uncertainty. Confidence remains intact. Peace anchors your decisions, and growth continues forward. Your emotional maturity becomes visible. You listen more than you speak. You respond, not react. Awareness guides your interactions. Calm shapes your presence. Friends feel safe around you. Brothers trust your counsel. You communicate with clarity. Boundaries protect relationships. Respect grows mutually. You avoid unnecessary conflict. Wisdom directs your energy. Your character deepens. Stability becomes noticeable. And leadership emerges naturally. The breaking refined your character. You value effort more than outcome. Process more than praise. Growth more than comfort. Purpose more than pleasure. Friends respect your discipline. Brothers admire your resilience. You stay consistent quietly. Momentum builds steadily. Confidence becomes grounded. Peace supports your ambition. Balance guides your journey. You remain adaptable. Focus stays sharp. And growth compounds daily. You understand sacrifice deeply now. Growth demanded uncomfortable choices. You paid the price willingly. Comfort was exchanged for purpose. Ease was replaced by meaning. Friends noticed your determination. Brothers saw your commitment. You didn't quit when it hurt. You stayed consistent when lonely. Strength formed under pressure. Character was forged quietly. Discipline became your ally. Patience shaped your mindset. Confidence followed naturally, and growth became inevitable. Your identity feels authentic now. You no longer pretend. Alignment feels natural. Decisions feel grounded. Direction feels clear. Friends trust your honesty. Brothers respect your integrity. You live intentionally. You move deliberately. You speak thoughtfully. You act consistently. You lead responsibly. Your presence feels stable. Your energy feels focused. And growth feels sustainable. You measure success differently now. Peace outweighs pressure. Freedom outweighs validation. Purpose outweighs status. Growth outweighs speed. Friends see your calm confidence. Brothers admire your balance. You avoid burnout wisely. You rest without guilt. You work with intention. You recover strategically. You remain disciplined. Consistency stays intact. Progress feels healthy. And life feels aligned. The breaking strengthens your vision. You see long-term clearly. Short-term distractions fade easily. Focus remains sharp. Clarity guides execution. Friends support your journey. Brothers encourage your discipline. You trust your process fully. Momentum stays consistent. Results grow steadily. Confidence stabilizes. Faith strengthens resilience. Purpose fuels persistence. Growth remains intentional. and direction stays clear. You realize breaking was necessary. Without it, growth was impossible. Comfort would have limited you. Familiarity would have trapped you. Fear would have controlled you. Friends who stayed mattered deeply. Brothers who believed mattered more. You appreciate support genuinely. Gratitude replaces bitterness. Wisdom replaces regret. Strength replaces doubt. Clarity replaces confusion. Confidence replaces fear. Alignment replaces chaos. And growth defines your future. Now you stand rebuilt and aware, stronger than before, quieter than ever, grounded in purpose and discipline, focused on progress, not approval, committed to consistency daily. Friends, respect the journey you survived. Brothers, honor the strength you earned. You carry lessons without weight. You move forward without hesitation. Faith guides your ambition. Peace anchors your growth. Discipline sustains your momentum. Clarity defines your direction. The old life is gone, and the new one finally begins. What broke was never meant to stay. What survived was meant to grow. Your pain was the doorway, not the destination. The old life ended so the real one could begin. Now walk forward, stronger, wiser, and unafraid.